Hello. We're here to play Trophy Dark, the second session in a game called Boots of Red, which is a Tolkien-inspired game of incursion where we're going into a forest as a group of little people who look a lot like hobbits. It's the second session, therefore, we're recording this, though we're not quite sure we're going to post it. We'll work that out at the end. We're playing as part of the Gauntlet of the Gaming community. As such, we are playing part of their community standards. We're playing with an open door policy, we're playing with the X card, and we're playing with lines and veils, which have been discussed before playing. And I would say, we're going to go around the group and briefly introduce who we are and what we've discovered so far. Sorry, who we are, who's your favourite character in a Tolkien book, or, piece of media, and what your character is, and what exciting things have they discovered as we've travelled into the Elder Woods. We'll start with Dan. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Dan. My pronouns are he, him. I'm playing Everard Fishgood, who is a fisher person and takes his job very seriously. Caught a fish last time and held onto it through all kinds of threats that he was facing. He is carrying a family heirloom to deliver to an inn, and he was trying to keep the secret from his companions, but he accidentally revealed it after he got stuck. I think you had asked about our favorite Lord of the Rings character.
We accept the Hobbit or anything in the vague Tolkien area. And
yeah. I gotta say I'm generally a fan of the dwarves, and Thorin is right up there. Just an interesting character.
Classic dwarf. Now, Sabine.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm going to play Yubal Puffin, who uses he, him pronouns, and who is a cook. And he wanted to go see the elves. And, he was nearly eaten by a willow, which is not quite what he was looking out for. But at the end, we saw someone who might just be an elf. We never know, right? She was beautiful enough. My favorite Tolkien character, I'm going with the films now because they are more recent, and I'll have to echo this. I love Thorin, but mostly because I'm really big fan of Richard Armitage, so he could have probably played a bratwurst or something, and I'd still go, ooh, I have to watch this.
Perfect. Right, what about you, Will?
Hi, I'm Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of my character, Berquin Trufflesnoot, who is a travelling merchant, one of the few hobbits to have ever left the Shire, but, he's brought back a fair few things to sell to these peasants back here. And he's out in the forest. Two reasons. Well, it's all connected, actually. It's to see if he can find the trade passage through the old forest, so he can shave off a few days of the trade routes to the nearest towns, which is also what his old business partner Draybury had planned on doing all those years ago, but never came back from. And my favourite Lord of the Rings character is probably Gimli, son of Gloin, purely for the line, "No one tosses a dwarf." So
that seems reasonable too. Josh, tell us about yourself and Philibert.
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm Josh. He, him, his pronouns, and I'm playing Philibert Mugwort, who is the idle, good-for-nothing son of the Mugwort line. He is set to inherit eventually the Meadowdown Hall, which is a sort of miniaturized human villa in this little folk town. And he has not inherited yet, and it makes him very annoyed, because what is he supposed to do in the meantime? Just sit around? Get a job? Of course not. So he's on this adventure. He, in wrestling with a sentient vine, a sentient elm stalk, an elm seed was lodged in his hand, which has not done anything yet, but it certainly will. It must. My favorite Tolkien character. I also do like dwarves, but I actually don't like Tolkien. Isn't my favorite dwarf writer, personally. I do have solidarity with them because they are canonically Jewish, of course. So I do have to stand by my fellow tribe members. But I think I like Pratchett dwarves the most of any dwarf author. My favorite Tolkien character, I'm also going to go with the movies, is Grima Wormtongue, because he's just so immediately, obviously evil that I think anyone walking by him on the street would look at him and think, oh, that is an evil man on his way to do evil things. And yet somehow he becomes the king's advisor. And they're just like, oh, that's Grima Wormtongue. He's a good guy. And they just let it happen.
That's
and it's wonderful. I love it. I love it.
It's absolutely inspirational. It shows we can all do whatever we want to do in this life. Like Grima Wormtongue. Well, what job would you like to do? I'd like to use my worming tongue. That's great. I have a job for you. I love that. I'm Kieran Gill. I mainly use he, him pronouns, and my favourite Tolkien character, perhaps appropriately since you're all dwarf lovers, is Bjorn. In that you're welcome to the hall, and I can offer you all honey cakes after being quite gruff with you all. Fantastic. Right. Trophy Doc. Okay, we have the image I want to kind of picture is basically we cut through the memories of the people on the way they're rushing, like the entry, that being chased by dogs, being taught the song of Old Tom, Philibert increasing paranoia that somehow vines are taking out, trees are wrapping around his body wherever he rustles. That the weirdness of the ringing in Will's ear as something small and metallic is moving around, which gives an awful idea it might be a ring. There's something implanted in Ubald too. There's this kind of the sprouting, and everyone running from we're running from Will's, that awful moment of being trapped in the tree and rushing downhill, and you soaking in sodden, and presented by Rowan, who is playing a harp and the most beautiful song and the most beautiful person you've ever seen in your lives. And she has just ushered you inside the epic hall that wrestles in the middle of the woods. And the image I get is that you're slightly sodden. She apologizes, as in, I'm sorry. This I wasn't expecting guests. Ubald, sorry, Sabine.
Are you an elf?
She smiles. If I was an elf, it would not be most elfin to reveal that as such. The elfin are mysterious folk, Ubald. But you can possibly help me. You're a cook, aren't you?
Yes.
Of course.
I am.
My fire has gone out, and I was going to prepare food for you all. And there's a large, heavy iron black cauldron resting in the corner. It's unlit. Could you light it for me whilst I prepare all the rooms for you?
Of course, my lady. It would be an honor to me to prepare your cooking fire. Yes, let me see this. And he bustles over and hey, I have this. You know what? I have this ritual thingy that I can start fires with. So this is what it was meant for, isn't it? Isn't it? Yes, it is.
We all follow the melody tells us where to step, Ubald. This is all a tune, and we all play our parts.
Mm-hmm.
Please,
yeah.
Sit down. And I made some bread this morning, so you can eat whilst we wait for the soup to cook. And she hands out this beautiful light elf bread to each of you. Ubald, I have to say, I don't think there's a risk roll here. That's the weirdest thing. The song, because if you remember, the song you sang earlier was about this big cauldron and and lighting it for the beautiful,
Yeah, exactly.
And it comes out of you really naturally, I think.
Wow. So I don't have to roll for it?
Yeah, in this hall, no, the magic comes so easily.
Wow, That's amazing. I mean, that is that song goes out of me. And I feel a bit embarrassed because it's such a little ditty, but kind of works here.
Yeah. Rowan smiles and sort of says, "It is a pretty little song, and it's and little songs are steps to larger songs." Take a seat, please. Tell me, what do you? She asks the names. And is anyone who doesn't want to tell them the names?
No, I mean, I think Berkwin Trufflesnoot, practically hands over a business card for all of your mercantile needs.
Actually, takes it incredibly graciously. Says, "I will definitely have use for such as you, Berkwin." But are you, Berkwin? You're friends with what was his name? He came here. He came here some years ago. Merchant, lovely person. Drabery, yes. You're Drabery's friend. She says while stirring her soup.
Aye, Drabery's my business partner. Not seen for many a year. Has he been this way?
Oh yeah, he definitely passed through here. He was quite the brave soul. I hope he made it.
Yes, that was Drabery, a hero among hobbits, captain of venture and industry. He was incredible. Did he say where he was off to? Did he find the passage through the old forest?
I hope he did.
We could increase our earnings by at least 2.5% if we can shave off an extra day of travel.
They do I think the danger is the journey reveals more. Like all art is, the forest is a place of discovery, Berkwin, and like what you discover is the routes to many places, not just the human town of Camembert. I think we decided. Yeah.
Yes, Camembert, I think was the Cannonbort. Yeah. And Berkwin says, well, as long as there are the routes that go to places with money.
Yeah, I hope he did. There was that one friend. There was one friend he was traveling with. He had that bodyguard. There was something an evil look in that man. Anyway, I'm sure you're with your companions entirely. Philibert, what inside the hall? You described how beautiful it was from the outside. Like, what most impresses you in the inside?
Just everything is enormous. This place is like 1.3 times bigger than us. Than we would expect it to be, than it has been our lives, It's a sort of a disconcerting feeling, I'm sure, to be in this building that is just different.
Yeah, it's like they come in this size, especially with Rowan. Like Rowan looks like a Grecian column almost as she moves around with the gold torques we talked about previously, and the kind of the river night eyes. The soup's already cooked somewhat weirdly, as in time seems to be passing strangely here. Like everyone sort of drifts off as she's humming. Like there's something very soothing about this. Philibert, you probably as you're looking around, you're getting that kind of the lashing of willows on your face, almost and you sort of shudder. But then she slaps you, not doesn't slap you, but she sort of coughs gently and passes you the soup. Philibert, I'm sure, surely this does. As the master of the hall, surely this can't impress you so much.
Yeah, well, it's not perfect. Philibert would renovate if this were his place.
She's very charmed by this, and she sort of like laughs daintily, and says, "And where would you start, Philibert?"
And he looks in his chair, and he leans back and he looks all around the hall, and then he says, I don't like the paint on the outside. It's not an inviting color.
She smells herself. This is definitely the problem for me as she passes the soup around to everyone else. Is that there's so much for me to do, and so much thing, and I often miss the smaller details. It's like an eye for building a beautiful thing is an important thing, Philibert, and you should definitely hang on to that. You, Bold, you saw the Dan. Everyone, you got back the you've got the fish. be the heirloom. Like, where did you put the heirloom again? As in when you got a hold of it?
I put it back in one of my pouches, but I put it in a different one, assuming that everyone has been keeping track, very careful track. My paranoia is definitely on the rise. And so I've put it in a different one of my pouches. I guess I'm still holding the fish.
Yeah. I was about to say, and I see you carry precious treasure, Everon.
I was hoping you could use this in your stew, but I could throw it back.
Oh no, please! You carry such precious silver. This will be. I will cook this, and we'll have this after the soup. You say you look. She says you look terrible, all of you, in terms of this. This has been a difficult journey for you, and you must be comforted. You are all safe here. And she takes the cook. She takes the fish and turns to Ubald. Ubald, can you cook this, please?
I can cook every yes, I can cook this fish. It is a very good fish, but I have to fillet it first. And I draw out a big knife and I glare a few daggers at Berkwin and Philibert, and then I start cutting up the fish.
Thank you, says Rowan. Everon, so why do you travel to here? So, what brings you carrying such important treasure? She smiles, gesturing at the fish. Here.
I have business at the Inn of the Fetid Stag. Private business.
Private?
Yeah, it's a family matter.
Of course. This might be a good, actually, if you don't want to say it out loud, this might be a good time to establish who you're meeting and why. What's going through everyone's head in terms of like what he's carrying and why he is. Because to remind everyone, what we established it was an ash urn containing the dragon burned remains of a great hobbit hero with elvish writing around the rim.
I think someone there has made me a promise that if I could deliver this, I would achieve the same level of fame and fortune as this hobbit burned by a dragon.
That's interesting. Like the hungry for glory there. That's kind of
yeah. I mean, I feel like he's got he's ambitious and selfish. So
a great, there's like, Jill says, I'm sure, there's a great song for a man who defeats such an important fish. She's sort of like, and there's a sort of, the way she says it's half mockery, half encouragement.
Right.
This kind of way.
Yeah. Well, and he does not take it as mockery at all. Everard hears it as, yeah, that was a really hard fish to land, and I did a really, really good job, and I'm really helping out my compatriots here. So.
That's right. It is a day like the route is difficult ahead of you. Like it's the land goes it's downhill. The way to Cambert and the Feted Inn. For my best of understanding, the land is foggy. It is low. It is hilly. Basically, there are it's forested downs. Is the best way of putting it. These rolling hills covered in trees, and it is dangerous there. I fear you would. I fear you must find all your great hobbit courage to be so. And she starts saying, I would say, can you read Elvish, Ubald?
Yes, I can read Elvish.
What does the writing on it said when you saw it?
On what? Sorry,
the Elvish writing on Everon's. Or at least the bit you saw.
Oh, I think what it did says something complimentary here. It's not a joke writing, but it might be a bit too excessive. The most brave and mightily adored hero of the Shire, or something like that.
This is great. I think we're going to like everyone's just settled in, and I think we're going to cut slightly later because I want to see like. Please correct me if you're not interested in this. I want to see about a scene of like Ubald questioning everyone about what the hell's going on. Like I want to see like that sort of like fellowship scene where you gathered around this fire and you're drying out, and Ubald broaching the question. Like how does Ubald broach it to everyone? Unless you're not interested in that.
Ubald is interested in having some. I mean, Everard has something with Elvish writing on it, and Ubald at least is very impressed by this. Because it says mightily and adored, so it has to be something great. So I will ask Everard. You have this thing, and there is this. There are these Elvish runes on it.
Yeah, it's been in my family for generations. What of it?
I thought it was lost. Wasn't it lost, Filbert? Didn't the story that it was lost?
No. It was always been in my family.
Yeah, but I thought you'd lost it.
I thought I heard you had lost it too.
I mean, I'd always thought he'd sold it off. No.
You're thinking of some other urn, obviously.
Oh, that's the urn. Wait, I thought that was lost. I guess. I didn't know it was the urn. Oh, that's why it said mighty and adored. Wow.
Philibert, is it true that this ancient hobbit hero was the person who founded this hall? Is that true? I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, Philibert nods. He says, "Oh, definitely, certainly. You know, we built a lot of the infrastructure in this whole area. The roads, the farms. The first settlers here were hobbits that paved the way for everyone else."
Well, that's an impressive story and a wonderful lineage to be part of.
Absolutely.
Well, and he was my ancestor. He was a Fishgood, so that's why it's been in my family for generations. Like I said, the Fishgood uncle, he went off and he got burned by a dragon, but he was the one who started all of this and helped pave all these roads, just like you said.
Fishgood, I remember him. Says Rowan. Rowan is like, I think she's sewing actually. Like there's something like she's sewing a quilt, and she's basically darning your faces in them, as in these beautiful tiny embroidered portraits of each of you in this quilt. And you can perhaps. Yeah, not creepy at all. They're very cute. They're really bright. They've got this kind of like folkish energy, like something out the Wicker Man maybe, or like it's all really positive energy vibe there going. Like I think I met him. He was a true hero. He remember. I think I told him that he would probably, if he was going out into the world, he would definitely find useful things in the Downs. There are many, long dead, powerful things there that might be of use to protect the little folk.
Yes,
many valuable things.
Dragon.
Many valuable things, would you say?
But what is value? There's to me, like the song of the bird, the wind in the trees, the water. These are valuable things. Not the cheap encrusted diamonds. That scatter. These barrows.
Yeah. Sounds like litter to me. Terrible. Yeah. We should clear that up out of the forest, I think. Yeah.
And she gestures to the gold dust stuff around her throat, saying, "Seriously, only I take simple things from there, such as this." These are very more. And she's very clearly seems to think this is modest. This talk that you can buy half your town with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care I don't care much for jewelry and stuff like that. I think, well, it's better for us to be simple folk.
Yes. This fish is delicious, she says.
It cost us a lot, that. Did cost my old pack.
I was going to say, you're out of pipeweed, remember? That's actually the most horrific thing that happened last session.
Yeah. Filbert, come on, pack us a pipe, son.
Yeah, Filibert will. He is skilled in this craft.
It was your tobacco weed that got wet.
It was my tobacco weed that got wet. Well, Philibert is a skilled procrastinator, and this is definitely, I think, falls into that category. So he expertly packs the bowl of this pipe with Rowan's tobacco, or Rowan's whatever it is in this fantasy world, and he flicks a match. And he,
yeah, I was about to say, Rowan could I think she definitely offers, she brings you some something, and it's weird. It's got this kind of almost meaty. Sorry, it's got that kind of it reminds you of home. It's got that kind of home kind of vibe to it, and then the whole hall you're in kind of smells of it. And I think as you stop smoking, I think everyone's going to probably drift off now, and then we're going to cut to slightly later as these happy Hobbit dreams bounce through your brain, and then you're woken up by screaming, loud screaming, and there's laughter cutting through it, and you hear Rowan outside shouting, "No, Tom, old Tom, you are old Tom now. Please be gone. I have house guests. And then mad, brutal laughter and screaming answers her, as if a crowd of people are angry at her. Everyone's sitting upright. Anyone want to go outside and look, or?
Yeah, I mean, I have to. Maybe I can do something to help the elf lady.
Fantastic. You rush outside. You bold straight into action.
I don't rush. I go there quietly with something to throw at whatever's threatening her. I mean, I know my size, but I'm a hobbit. I'm good at throwing stuff.
Yeah. There are you find her standing alone out there, and in front of her there are large feet about the size of a hobbit torso. They are footprints, and they lead.
Oh, okay.
Back into the woods, and the trees are smashed down, leading away. They're pushed to one side. That's you may have seen a bard who smashed up a lute once in a bar. It's got the element of after a rock show, but in the real world, it's got that kind of level of destruction to it. The Who have just suddenly come on through, and she turns and apologizes to you. I'm so sorry. You old Tom is upset.
Was that him?
Yes, he knows you're here. He is. It's unfortunate. It's too late now to turn back, and he will try to stop you. He knows his time is nearly over. He is old Tom. He wishes his verse to go on forever, but that is not the nature of any song. He will do anything to continue to be the lead voice of the chorus of this place, no matter how old his song has grown. And she seems to be looking at you all individually as she says this. There are so many new voices there's so many new songs that could be sung. Do not worry. Old Tom cannot hurt me, but he can hurt you. Sleep, and in the morning things will seem better.
Old Tom? Is this the same old Tom? And I say, I know a song about old Tom. A dear friend of ours. Taught it to us before he entered the woods.
She sort of smiles and says, I think you know most of the song of old Tom. She says that slightly and I'm going to cut that scene there because it's certainly ominous, and then we're going to cut to dawn. You're all in bed and you're sitting awake. Everyone is asleep apart from you, sitting by your bedside table. Sorry, sitting by your sleeping area in this in the hut, not the hut, the hall. Here sits Rowan. She smiles at you as if you're the only person in the world. Things will be difficult for you, she says to each of you simultaneously, as in this awful kind of trick of hers. I think we're going to start with Will here, actually. It says, Will, you wish to be you seek riches, you seek these temporal powers. Do you think this will truly buy you happiness?
I seek trade. I seek commerce. I seek money, but money's just a means of keeping score of what a great venture you've created.
This is true. And she speaks about the if you seek things, there is like the Great Barrow. That's where that you'll see that, and it's the safest route through this city. I'm sort of saying, like, she's saying this to all of you. We're running these sort of scenes simultaneously, like the final leg. I said through the barrows, and the Great Barrow there, and there is the greatest of treasures inside, secrets, powers. Do you think you can make it, Berquin? What little magic do you have?
Oh, I've got away with words, and I've always been able to, take 2 coppers and make 3 silvers. So, I think that's magic enough for me.
You sure? I could offer you greater power.
Well, I'm always interested in a trade.
A trade, excellent. You brought such great company here, and you're showing such great spell. I think that's fine. She's basically offering you to upgrade your song.
I mean, 100% he would take it.
Okay, I could teach you the song of your song is of charms.
Dominate person.
Yeah, I can teach you the song of water. The song of quenching in all things.
Water. I'd love to learn the song of water.
Excellent. Sorry, the water. It is the song of drowning in all its forms.
Well, that's a different matter entirely, isn't it? But yes.
Yeah, but like, that much more, drowning in all its forms, as she says. It is an old song of old power. One thing is, what she whispers to you and tells you it. What of the song of drowning scares you? It is definitely not a Hobbit song.
So drowning is you can drown in things, just having too much of something. You could drown in ale. You could drown in your sorrows, right? Your depression. You could drown in all kinds of things. I think it's that aspect of it is frightening to Berquin because hobbits are indulgent, hedonistic. You know what I mean? Epicurean, that kind of thing. But they get sated. They stuff themselves, and then they have that nice cozy bit with their stuffed bellies and their comfort. But this is drowning. This is overwhelming yourself with everything too much, and just being lost inside of it rather than happily sated at the end.
That's great. That's a lot, though. It's like I would like to learn the song. You have to make a ruin roll. So we haven't actually done a straight ruin roll. The ruin rolls are pretty basic. All we do to explain to the table is you just roll the dark dice, and if it's higher than your rune score increases by 1. So it's basically like the sheer level of cosmic horror of the experience.
Yeah, sounds good to me. There's a 1, so it's lower than my rune score.
So it doesn't seem so bad, does it? But this strange and awesome power comes to you. Let's go to Ubold next. And she said everything's the same to you, talking kindly. And so what, like, yeah, I sense you're different. You come here you come here for something else, not to travel to the far side and not to try to prove yourself. You come here for something beautiful. Tell me, Ubold, what is the thing you seek?
I always, since I was a tiny little hobbitlet, my mama would tell me about the elves and how they sing and how they would be so beautiful, and then she'd sing me a song. And one day she was gone away, and all I remember of her is the stories about the elves she told me and some of her recipes. And I don't know, I've always wanted to see elves. There's this empty place in my soul that needs to be filled, and I think that the elves might be able to do that.
Can you survive? I hope you can survive the elves. They are something to see indeed, and their beauty has long been gone from this land in many ways. Ubold, do you think you have do you think your little song, that little fire, is enough to carry you further? Would you learn one of my songs?
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know that I could. I'm just a hobbit.
Little folk. There are things that make little folk stand tall. And actually, there's this moment as you sort of see, like the fire burning, and behind you, your shadow is much higher. Like a small creature can cast a large shadow with the right fire.
But do I need to cast a shadow? I want to seek out the elves, and maybe if they cast too large a shadow, I won't be able to see them. That would be bad, right?
That is true.
Is
Would you
that
like?
a test?
You do not
this a
wish to learn my.
test?
Everything is a test. She smiles. This is all performance. You would not like to learn of my songs then?
Well, I mean, I would sure like to hear you sing your song.
Okay. She starts singing. Sorry, like, it's one of these things that she starts singing the song of burning, which is the song of fire, the song of burning of all things in all its forms. What about this song scares you?
What about this? That fire can get out of control so easily, and it's so beautiful and so pretty, but and you can get overwhelmed while watching it burn, right?
Exactly. Can you make a risk roll?
Sure.
Thank you.
I don't have a lot of ruin, so this will probably go well. Holy roll. Yeah, it's higher.
Excellent. Well, definitely that kind of the level of stuff hitting you is significant. We'll come back to your condition later because something is. I think that's something we're going to notice in a bit.
Yeah. Nice.
Right. Let's go to Philibert. Philibert, reminiscing beside you, is you wish to prove yourself the master of the Great Hall. Do you think you have the magic for such a thing?
Philibert nods. He says, I think I had the magic for such a thing years ago.
Would you have my assistance? I worry about you, Philibert. Like you're clearly a destined great master of this hall, and you're kind of a composer. You clearly see order in things, and it would be a shame for you to. She glances around the other sleepers. It'd be a shame if other people do not assist you to your lorddom.
Yeah, Philibert smiles. This is a person who's on his side. Why does nobody get him like Rowan does? That's not how Josh feels, but that is how Philibert feels.
Yeah, I think that sounds exactly how Philibert would feel. Great. I was about to say, and she starts telling you the song. I would say he's going to tell you the song of hope. She's going to tell you a song which is greater than the song of hope. The song of earth, which is the song of burying in all its things. Like, what about this song scares you? Because it's not a Hobbit song.
Well, I think that Philibert always likes to have one foot out of the door, and to be buried is to have both feet under the ground, immobile. To be totally stuck.
That is awesome. Would you make a ruin roll to see if this is enough to really petrify you?
Of course. I do not have the dice roller open.
Let me cut and paste it for you.
It's
just rolling one dark dice, so.
Okay. I just have D6s here, probably. If I can pull them out of a thing. Here is a D6.
That's right.
That is a 4, and my ruin is also 4.
That is fine. You're absolutely okay for once. This power works, and now you have the Song of Earth. Finally, Everend. She sort of leans over Everend. I remember when he came, the old fish good. I mean, what he said to me, I'm hunting the greatest of fish, the enormous scaled dragons. And I told him what he could do. I gave him my best advice, and I hope it served him well. Is this what you wish?
Everett is sitting there with the urn in his lap, sort of caressing it as if it were the Ring of Power. In that sort of vein, he's looking ever more paranoid at his companions, who he thinks are sleeping. And he says to Rowan, I would like to be like the elder Fishgood more than anything else in the world.
She smiles, like, let me tell you a song. And she starts selling the song of Yours is Shelter. She tells you the song of tells you the song of the wind, which is the song of breathing in all its forms. What about it scares you?
I think the way it is sung, it uses it's in a minor key and it is harmonized in a way that hobbits just don't do. It's kind of got a polyphonic thing going on because of the wind, and it just shakes him to his bones.
Yeah, that's a lot. Can you like give me a ruin roll there in this kind of it's the physical? So I'm getting the image of like real the word numinous, the idea of fear of music, the fear of art and sublime. That's what it's hitting. Like I want to imagine like Rowan singing this, and you're sort of panning up to her, and it's the full Galadriel.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
and I'm clutching that urn ever tighter.
Brilliant. Ruin roll.
I rolled a 3, and my ruin is 2, so I think I'm okay.
No, 3 is that means something happens. Actually, that means
something terrible happens. Okay, great.
Yeah. Or rather, you narrow your ruin increases to 3, and you will have something off with you. But you do know the Song of the Wind. And this moment, Dawn, this scene is happening simultaneously, all of you, and the dawn shadows are streaking over. And says, "I could teach you another song if you wished." She says to each of you, "These are dangerous songs, and perhaps not suited for like little folk. But if you felt yourself suitable, this might help you on your way."
Not suited for little folk? Philibert is a little bit offended by that.
Yeah. Like
he's signing up to the top of his list.
Excellent. Can you make a ruin roll just quickly? I'm not going to tell you what. I've suddenly got the sorry, this is something I'm playtesting, and this I'm just trying to work out how to do this particular bit. She says, "Right, I will tell you the song of ruling, the song of total the song of domination. You were like, this is for you, Philibert." And she sings it, and it's awful, and it's dreadful majesty, and it makes you think of distant lands and enormous like this Mordor. This like you talk about the hall. There's another hall, and there's a Dark Lord long away, and he rules in this hall. Looming above you, and we'll let you know. But you don't make another ruin roll for this, and you've got it. It's a song of ruling, which I've added onto your sheet. Everand, what do you say? Yes or no to this song?
I am 100% learning another song. Yes.
Fantastic. I will teach you the song of finding. This is a song of pursuit. And the image you might get is like people, you're trying to get to the defeated stag, people pursuing you. These dark shadows racing across the lands and under someone's command, writhing in the darkness. But that's definitely there. We'll go to Berquin. Like
for free?
I say, of course. No, this is. So I fear for you, and she glances around the room. As in some, we are all people who trade, but I fear there are people here who will not trade with you, and they will not trade with an open hand. They have things they wish they would take from you. I would give you, the power to make yourself through here. In the same way, I fear that, I fear what could have happened to your old friend could have also happened to you if you're not armed.
Yeah, I will accept the gift because on every level, the player definitely wants more strange magic.
Yep. So you will have the song of darkness.
The song of darkness.
The song of all shadows. And the image, the image of picture here is like a forge in a land, which is like there's heat, but there's no light from this place. And finally, Ubold, would you like a final song?
I mean, Ooh, you know, no, I've always been the one who get the extra cookie, even if I shouldn't. So yeah, please.
I will teach you the song of binding.
Cool.
The song of this is the song of bondage. This is the song of unable to control things, and the image of that kind of, and the image I think you probably get is the idea of these just people bowing. There's a lot that's stretching out forever. The idea of this lord of all these creatures, and it's just like the level of just what is stretching out there. And there's a level of poetry to what she's doing, I guess. As in, this really is a kind of like she's speaking very, very old songs, and these are not songs you think hobbits perhaps have ever heard. And she stops and says, "There is one final thing I must tell you all before you leave. The Song of Old Tom. The Song of Old Tom has a final verse. It goes like this." And as she starts to speak, imagine the camera panning over everyone's face in utter horror. And there's like static building up on the soundtrack. It gets louder and louder and louder, and the hobbits are screaming. And then we cut away, and you're all walking away from her actual hut in the morning, all relaxed. Everything's quite well. And there's just one thing that goes around your head before it all, you know, as you think back to this. Oh, don't worry, you'll remember the final verse when the time is right. And we'll just and we'll stop here for the first break. We pick up again as the hobbits are making their way from the woods, and instantly things are more oppressive. Like fog starts moving in. As you are passing through, there is actually only one moment of actual joy in this bit of the forest, when suddenly a beautiful nightingale sings with an incredible beauty, notes circling wilder and wilder and wilder as it flies around you, before hitting a single long, high, piercing note which stretches on, and then it just crashes into the floor, dead. It lies there for a few seconds until you realise maggots are slowly emerging from its ear. You step forward. Ubald, there's one thing that's been nagging you. Like, you really enjoyed, like, this sort of thing you notice about yourself. It's like, your dreams were amazing. Like, apart from the dreams of obviously, like, speaking to Rowan when she woke you up, but like, you dreamed of dancing with the elves. Can you tell me tell me a little bit about what it was like dancing through the woods with the elves?
You see, it was a dream, right? So nobody would know that I dreamed of being an elf.
That's beautiful. The one thing is, like, you feel your feet are bleeding and blistered this morning, and it's hard to walk.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's actively weird. And Dan, was it Dan? You were got a condition as well, yes?
I did get a condition, yeah.
You did. So there's one thing when you were getting dressed, you noticed, like you have scales running up your arm. So actually, let's ask you a question. Where in your body do you notice scales appearing and merging up and down in rows?
I think actually on my legs, both legs, and they're starting to encroach on my hobbit feet too.
That's great. They're sort of called, they're like I would say you can't quite be sure what animal they are yet. You presume fish, but they could be anything.
Right. They're silvery, but also maybe I'm sort of picturing them as dragon-like as well. So.
There is definitely that aspect. There perhaps is a dragon-like aspect to them. You might imagine. Right. Right. As you say, we're heading through the woods at this point. We the forests are basically rushing in on you. The image I would imagine like so these like hills, like ornating hills stretching out, and imagine that the trees rushing on like people rushing a stage when a bard comes to the local bar, and these trees are kind of pressed together in tight bodies as if they're kind of like impassioned or dancing, might be a good way of putting it. It's also cold here. Like fog fills the air, and there's actually your breath clouds in the air, like giving everything a gothic ambience. There's little white tops the trees, like cassocks of a choir. I was about to say, Berquin, what's the moment you realise that some of these hills are barrows?
I think it's when I climb a small one to get a better look at where we're going, and my foot sinks into a old bone that's poking out, where some creature has dug up. I think actually, like the side of it.
That's
I
great.
I may be a bit fuzzy on like what a proper barrow looks like in real life because I've only seen much long gone ones kind of thing. But
yeah. I would say we have a broad poetic understanding of the concept of barrows.
Okay. Yeah.
That is great. Okay, Berkwin's found this barrows. Like, is there as you pan up, you sort of realise one thing about these barrows. These are kind of holes that have been dug in the side. So the barrows which are nearest to you have been dug in the side by panicked raw fingers. These are like little hobbit holes dug by little folk who've been here before you. So
the little folk of these are little folk barrows. Okay, that's incredible. We could set up a tourist trade. We could bring people here. They could connect with Aristru, charge them 2 coppers.
Everund, how do you realise you recognise one of the? No, actually, Berkwin. I was about to say, at what point, Berkwin, do you recognise that this barrow was dug by Draybury?
Oh, by Draybury. It has it has the shovels. There is he left behind the shovel that he used to dig it with, which was part of our one of our first shipments to Bree. With a little thing, and he kept one. Always show off the merchandise, he'd say. But it's left here now, and it's very rotted and old and rusted. You're muted.
Dan, like Berkwin's like having this moment of looking it down. When do you realise something that a hand is about to grab Berkwin emerging from the ground?
I think as Berkwin is kind of noticing and inspecting the shovel, I turn to look at him because he's starting to exclaim, "Hey, Draybury was here!" And just as he's exclaiming, I'm turning to look at him, and I see the hand emerging to wrap around his ankle.
Fantastic. Berkwin, sorry, Everund, do you do anything?
I try to say his name, but I feel like it's not coming to me. And there's that little voice in my head, like, "Did you delay on purpose?"
Ooh,
but I do shout out eventually, "Berkwin," but I think he's already got the hand more or less around his ankle.
Berkwin, powerful, stronger than a hobbit, but hobbit-sized hands have grasped around your ankle and is starting to tug. What do you do?
I grasp at the rough dirt underneath my fingers. I scream for the others, and I look down and I see this pulling me into the holes, right into the barrow. And I think of the song that the lady told me of drowning, and I think about what happened. How you can stop things that you can kill off things that are in holes, pouring the kettle down them.
That's fantastic. At this moment, I'm going to give you the moment, as the face comes out, you see it's Draybury reaching up.
Oh God, I think that's a ruin roll, isn't it? Is that a ruin roll?
I was going to say, it's good. Yeah, Draybury says, it's only safe down here. It's only safe if you're dead. Trust me. You got to trade your life for something worthwhile. He says in awful throats, in that kind of trust me. You make the deal now, you'll regret not if you don't make it later. So if you don't make the deal now, you'll regret it making later. So he starts trying to drag you beneath the soil.
He always had this phrase, which was like, "It's better to make a deal than be forced into it. So you may as well say yes."
Yes.
Yeah.
Say yes, Berkwin. Say yes.
Can I roll? Is it like a sanity check, like a ruin check?
Yeah. If the player feels the need to do a ruin roll, I entirely encourage them to do a ruin roll.
I think seeing my old business partner drag me into hell.
I love that. Not into hell, merely beneath the soil.
Yeah, I know. It was just the phrase. 4. 4 is a match for my ruin number.
That means you don't actually increase in ruin. You manage to keep hold of it.
I managed to keep hold of it enough to start mumbling out the Song of Drowning.
Fantastic. Like, tell me, like, this is what, like, tell me the Song of Drowning. Like, what's the verse of the Song of Drowning that leaps to mind as you sing it? What awful imagery comes from that?
Thick as peat and black as mud, sink you down like you always knew you would.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's just about the inevitability of, and that line is literally about like, getting too far into your cups and it being pulled down into unconsciousness and sinking away. Yeah.
Okay, you're saying this rapidly as you're being pulled. Like, now, tell me what you want to do. Let's to remind everyone about the rule is basically we say what we're going to do, ideally what we want to do, and then we say what could possibly go wrong. Then we get devil's bargains and we roll a bunch of dice and we see what awful thing happens.
So the thing I want to do is the Song of Drowning is to flood this barrow and presumably drown, push him back down beneath.
That's great. And what could go wrong about this?
If anyone has any suggestions, feel free. Otherwise, I have one.
I mean, the floor could turn to mud and become unstable. Drag you down with it.
Yeah, I like that one actually. I was gonna say, like, really bad would be like you accidentally you start drowning yourself as well, like water starts filling your lungs or something. Like there's too much water.
Dan, sorry, I think
that's quite all right. I was going to say the water ends up pushing all the bodies out of the barrow.
Yeah. I love that one. Yeah.
That I think that would be a great devil's bargain, though.
As I say, we might come back like the soil is going to loosen the soil and make more things emerge. Might be a good So you have to you're going to have to deal with more of these things. Is the devil's bargain?
Perhaps the devil's bargain would be things come out of the thing, which could include multiple stuff, and then the wrong wing could be this. Drayberry specifically comes just surging out of the water on top of me rather than.
You loosen him or something.
Yeah. Let's go with things that can go wrong. Is I flood the barrows and pop out every unclean thing in the hill. Here, a devil's bargain then.
Anyone got devil's bargain? Josh, any ideas?
I really like the soil gets loose. That's a great visual.
Yeah.
Ooh, mudslides. Devil's bargain. We basically, like, rather than it being like we it's the supernatural stuff coming out of it, it's just that as we attempt to navigate this, it's going to be very treacherous and
I think that's a really good devil's bargain. I like the idea of just that you're gonna have to deal with you're going for the forest and it's muddy. This is just a great low level. You had to use the magic, Berkwin.
It's just suddenly turned the forest into a swamp. Yeah. So what dice would I roll there? Ruin dice and then a devil's bargain dice.
Yep.
And that's it.
I think that's it. Unless that's it.
Okay. Cool. There's the ruin dice, which is a 4, and there's a devil's bargain dice, which is a 3. So it's a 4.
That's a mixed success. That means you get to narrate what happens. Room doesn't increase because you didn't roll that high. You get to narrate what happens, and I get to say the complication.
Okay. So I think
I'll mention the complication first, and then you get to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I was about to say the complication. I think you're going to get sucked down a bit before you manage to drown them. That's the thing. It's like you're trying to drag into the ground. It takes too long. So the image you get to narrate this, but the image I get is like you're chanting the song, you're being dragged down, and you're stuck in the ground. You're safe, but you're stuck in the ground a bit, and you have to be immersed in that. That's the kind of thing. As in, it takes you a while to get the song off, essentially.
Okay. Can I suggest perhaps I do get rid of him, but other bodies do pop out?
I would say it's like the softening of the ground.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to pitch an alternative one. It's fine. I'll go with that one. Yeah.
It's one I think that's the sort of thing which I think is going to just come up anyway. I think the ground softening and
Yeah. Cool.
Going for the torrential things.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I just wanted to pitch another one. Berkwin, does exactly that. The foot starts to, he goes, Drayberry, and then as he gets pulled down, he starts to stammer through those lines, and then by the end of it, he sings it out, but then you just hear a whoop, and then it just the ground just bubbles up with like black water that starts to just soak through, and the ground beneath your very feet starts to just sink beneath you. You know.
That's fantastic. So it's a moment of complete horror. Let's go to like Philibert for a second. This kind of like this has just happened, and when you look up, what tells you that the Great Barrow is like? When you're the first person to spot the Grand Barrow ahead, as in this large hill that Rowan told you about.
Yeah.
Well, what gives it away, and what makes you know about the riches in there?
Well, I think that this is. I mean, this whole area is a swamp, right?
Yeah. It's now like it's winter and it's swampy. It's just generally got awful.
Yeah, so it's winter, it's swampy, and also so this whole area is just generally pretty low lying, like a little bit under sea level, and all of a sudden, through the tree line, in this awful weather, you can see just like a hill, and it is very much there, and it is big. It looks like it has multiple rooms inside of it. It looks like it goes down. It's much bigger than like the small hand dug barrows. This is a king's barrow, not
Nice.
like someone's barrow.
I have to say one thing about that. Yeah, it's like we've seen Newman halls before.
Yeah.
These aren't Newman halls. These might be the word. Let's see the word elf at this point. I was mentioned to Ubold, Berquin. Berquin's halfway down a hole, and everyone's going around. Ubold, like, how do you hear sort of whispers in the wind, and you recognise it as Elvish. What are the elves saying?
I think they are singing about the stars because they are elves and they like singing about the stars and their light in the darkness, that you can see the light clearest when it is the darkest.
That's fantastic. You can definitely, and you look up, you see ahead, and burning in the wood ahead of you, you see some incredibly bright will-o'-the-wisp type stars. I like to imagine will-o'-the-wisp turned atomic. Like that's the best kind of like level of glow, and they're ahead of you in this way. Okay,
I'm gonna catch one.
Especially there's that moment like is Ubold's about to run off again?
Of course. I'm gonna catch a star. I'm gonna be an elf.
That is true. They can like there's okay. Everyone's soaking in the mud. Berquit. Okay, like is anyone getting like? Let's go to Dan. Has everyone got any? You were probably closest. Like you and Berquin, are you going to like help each other out or move or try something here?
Yeah, I'll reach out to Berquin and try and help him out of the mud. I don't know that I've got any better of a purchase on the ground, but my guilt overwhelmed me, and I felt maybe I should help him.
Yeah.
I think Berquin spits out a load of brown brackish water,
Right.
splutters up, and I think your leverage is just that you're standing up, so you can like you sink into the ground as you pull me up.
Yep.
Whereas I'm just like flopping around like a fish, and it's slipping around, not able to get up at all.
I say something annoying like, "Aren't you glad you don't have your pack anymore?" Like, this would be so much harder if you still had your pack.
Yeah. You would have lost your pack anyways, right? Like, yeah.
You've noticed, like, Ubold, are you actually heading off? Or are you scared? Okay, that's great.
I'm a bit overwhelmed by the whole situation. I mean, there are skeletons coming from barrows. Nope, don't want to deal with that. I'm gonna catch a star. That seems much more reasonable.
Yes. So there's one thing, like the fact it's so muddy is really hard going here. Berquin's like you're trying to pull him. I'm not saying it's a risk roll because there's no immediate threat here. So you're trying to pull, and there's this lot of mud going on. There is one you've noticed, like there are other kind of like hobbits emerging from the ground, and they are horrified. You see these hobbit faces, these undead hobbit faces, like, and they scream, "No, he'll find us! And they start trying to dig their way back down. These hobbits desperately want to be buried alive.
I desperately want to make a ruin roll.
As I say, feel free. These are really horrific. These are auto burying hobbits, especially because in the distance you start hearing some jolly, merry singing from dozens of voices happily together, burbling nonsense, and the thud of earthquake feet approaching, like timpani, like God playing timpani.
That's good. I concentrate on that, and my rune won't increase because I rolled a 2. I ignore the auto-burying undead hobbits, and just concentrate on the sane part of this.
That's fantastic. Like, you both running after the goal. Filbert, you're in the position now where you've got something's approaching, it sounds like, and the hobbits are freaking out, whilst everyone in Berkwyn. Are you going to run, or are you going to abandon Berkwyn to this fate, or?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Berkwyn, do you want to start shouting? Like, everyone's the only one who's near with you now. Have you got any desperate things to say to this person before they try to leave you?
No, I don't think I do. I think I just mark it on my ledger, the one I keep in my head.
That's fantastic. Everyone, are you going to help Berkwyn, or are you going to run?
I'm still helping, but those hobbits are freaking me out. So I'm gonna make a ruin roll.
That's fantastic.
And I rolled a 5.
That is fantastic. Also, Dan, you're increased to 4.
Yep.
I was about to say, like, how do you your breath is as you're pulling and obviously getting out of breath. You realise your breath is getting hot.
Yeah.
Like your breath feels really hot, but
Right.
like stupidly hot, as if you've like got an ember in your throat.
Right.
But like you're still panting. Berkwyn, I was about to say, this sounds like a risk roll. You want to try to get out of the hole before this whatever's arriving arrives?
Yeah, sure.
Like, risk roll sounds fun to me. Like, get out of the hole before whatever this creature is arrives, or like...
I think get out of the hole and regain some control of the situation, I suppose. So I don't think that would include any of my skills. So it's just the ruin dice, I think, at the moment. What would a devil's bargain be? Because I very much want to not be stuck in the mud. You know what I mean? I want to be part of the party, kind of moving on, if you know what I mean.
Do you want me to give a shitty devil's bargain?
I mean,
like you've got to. Everyone gets stuck in. Everyone gets stuck, and you carry on. Like, you've got to pull him out, and you sort of have to leave him there a bit. So I pitched that as in if Dan thumbed up that one. So if you were up to it, it's not awful.
I'm okay with that, but I can see the appeal of all making it to the last ring too.
Yeah. I was just saying, it won't necessarily kill him. Like, Dan may, everyone may be able to get out of that because everyone does songs as well. So
maybe if it was Philibert, I would say yes, but it wasn't. Not Philibert. It's Everard, and both my meta and in-character incentives are to just try and get out.
Okay.
Get us all out of this mud. As far as
has anyone got any other devil's bargains then? Like, I'm certainly up for something else, something less monstrous to the fellow players.
Drabery pulls himself out of the mud and follows us when we leave.
Brilliant!
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Drabery's pursuing you tightly.
So it's a 5 on my normal dice and a 1 on the dark dice. So yeah.
Fantastic. This is beautiful. The complication. What could the complication? Like, what equipment you got left?
I got rid of my pack. I probably still have I probably still have like a travel knife and drinking like a water flask and things like that. Like little stuff that was on my belt. And my money pouch. That's what I leave. My money pouch.
I say
Drabery grabs the money pouch off my belt.
You are ahead of me, as in Drabery has your money.
Yeah. Oh no! I lose it, and then as the camera follows, you just see the coins scattered across the ground, and then Drabery's hand going poof, out of the ground, pulling it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, you're legging it. Drabery looks back and trying to scream, but his voice is now, his lungs are like A, dead, B, full of whatever awful fluid you begat to him. Let's cut to Ubald. Ubald's ahead. And you see, you step into the. How do you like? Sorry, Frederick, Sabine. When Ubald steps into this, the clearing ahead, you see one of these graves. So this is a lesser, like a lesser barrow. It's old, it's elfin, and you've got this this incredibly living star-like elf. When do you realise they're dead? How do you realise this elf is dead?
How do I realize this? I think I think the elves, they are too bright to see features, but when you come closer and you look a bit at them, then you can see their features. At first I think, oh, this is hair, this is lovely, and they are dancing, and then they turn around, you can see that they don't have eyes anymore, and the flesh has fallen from their face, but the amazing hair is still waving.
That is the full-on spectral hair.
Yeah.
And it sees you, and like they try to speak, and they kind of like they've got this look like they're about to try to sing at you, like a banshee would, and they can't sing anything. They rasp, as if their voices, all their voices have been stolen, and they look at you, which and pull long iridescent knife. In terms of like you will and look for you hungrily as this creature starts to walk towards you in all its radiant beauty.
I think that is, I think I will say, because I'm a hobbit and I've been raised to be polite, I will say good evening, and then I will say I'm sorry to have disturbed your rest. I will go now. Here, have a nice little bread roll that you can eat, and I'm off. It's elven bread from the lady in the house. So
they like you. The second you offer them the elven bread, they scream back in horror, as in like what was called elven bread is they treat it like a vampire would treat like garlic or like a crucifix. That's the kind of image I get there. And
I bite into it because I'm a hobbit. I just no tastes normal.
The elves rasp at you in this kind of moment.
What? You're clearly I don't know, but you're clearly not the elves I was looking for.
And there's this thing. Before we cut away from this, I would say there is like leaves set fire in front of you, and it's just scorches from side to side, and it forms a simple text burning with the burning of the elves. And this goes, we were, and then it was taken from us. And the dust flies up. We have no voice is the next line. We must take yours so we can sing once more.
Okay.
Right, and we're going to hard cut back to Philibert. Like you see, like I'm going to say, like, what are you doing? So you would like the head. So like Ubald has ran off to the right, where there is something like on fire over there.
Yeah, Philibert is making it for the main mound. I think he's trying to. He's at the point in the horror movie where they run deeper into the forest to get away from the monster, right? So he's heading to the main barrow.
Yeah.
That's the word. I was trying to think of it there. And he's gonna, if maybe, find a way inside and try and get away from all of these awful things that are behind him and to his sides.
As you're running, like more of the hobbits are bursting from the ground, because like really that's the kind of the creepy thing. Berquin really overdid it with the Song of Water. Like this is creeping for miles, and the whole area is becoming sludge, and hobbits are popping up here, and they're sort of speaking to you, saying that, you know, just a little, like as they're trying to bury, just a little further, you could have made it. You know, you could have made it. Like if we made the barrow, everything would have been okay. Like there's power there. And then there's a sort of awful thing as you, as a hobbit flies past you, crashing into the ground, as if it was being torn up the ground. If it was torn out of the ground, like about 300 feet back, and then thrown in your direction, shattering into pieces. Everyone and Berquin, what do you like? I would say you're going to arrive seeing Ubald standing in front of the elf. What's both your responses when you see this? First Berquin, then Everin.
I think Berquin's only response is to turn around and let out a scream as he sees Drapery clawing its way through the mud towards him, and go like, "Listen, you've got me money now, Drapery. You've got what I owed you. Leave it."
Drapery goes, 50% of it. We said 50-50. I need 50% of your body. Good pair of legs in your Berquin. I'll take them.
I think he says that as one of his legs just gets caught in the mud and snaps off.
Yeah.
He starts crawling through.
Yeah. There's another. I must admit, this has gone a little bit more Evil Dead than I was expecting, but we've got that energy there. We're going to stick with it. So Berquin is desperately heading on forward, trying to grab you. Like Everin.
I think I'm looking. Is Hubald moving, or just sort of transfixed by this creepy elf?
Ubald, I was about to say, if you want to just wait to see what Ubald does, that's completely a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Ubald, what is your response to this incredibly lovely offer that the elves have made you?
I mean, it's a high sea price, right? But I wanted to hear them singing, so I put away the bread. Sorry, step forward.
Marvelous. Like, how would this work? Like, it's one of these things like,
I think I can probably just increase ruin, and you can inflict the condition that I don't have my voice anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is like almost like, it's actually almost linked to your condition. Like, walk in and take ruin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the second condition you've got is every time you speak, something is speaking along with you.
Oh.
And it's musical and it's singing.
Oh, nice.
Every time you sing, you've got like an old harmony behind you, and it's an elf. Mm-hmm. You presume it must be an elf voice. You'd think it's an elf voice. It might be deeper or higher at different times. Somehow, simultaneously, both at once. And it's singing in harmony with you, and it's singing Elvish. It's singing something in Elvish you can't quite make out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a wonderful, and it makes you want to dance. You know, that kind of the awful joy of this. You feel lighter. Everin, you've just seen this elf fly into like Ubald and sort of like have an exorcist moment.
And Ubald turns around to you and smiles, this ecstatic kind of smile, like total happiness, and starts doing a little jig.
I mean, Everett's terrified. And probably covering his ears, because whatever sound is coming out is not natural to his ears. So he's, and I think he's breathing heavier, even though his breath is really, really hot. It's uncomfortable for him to breathe. But he's so scared. He's, in a sense, hyperventilating, but more or less frozen to the ground.
That's fantastic. As I say, Berquin, I think that like you've got this moment. Like I think Berquin's the one who's got most in danger here, because you've got this creature about to grab at you. Like, how do you want to try? What's your plan to deal with your persistent business partner?
It is to run away. Frankly, you know.
See, classic.
Yeah, because he's taken my money, and you know, normally when you pay someone to get rid of your business partner, they stay dead, or they come back and tell you.
Ooh, is that you establishing that in the fiction?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I thought, you know, but he never came back. That bodyguard of his paid him, but he never came back. So I thought, and then Drapery's here now.
Yeah, Drapery's saying it. Like, you know, that body, that man, he's like, you know, he sliced my throat. Like, don't trust him. You kind of trust the truffle snout, he says.
Yeah. When he picks up that thing, he's like, "That's a down payment on what you owe me for my life," kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm just running away, frankly.
Fantastic.
Would my skill of traveling help me with that?
Yes, definitely. I would say,
Okay.
like, I should probably say Devil's Bargain, actually, I probably like, you know, I've said that. I kind of want to really actively say everybody knows that is a Devil's Bargain, as in like Draybri, you know, what I just did. That would be a Devil's Bargain. And I'm sort of giving you that.
Okay, I'll take that.
It strikes me as
Yeah,
something
I
else.
know.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I'll take that.
Cool. So now everyone in Newbold know about that Berquin's a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll take anything precious like elves or what are they called? Ashes.
Elves or ashes. The two things of value in this world. That my highest dice was a 3. And it was my ruin dice. Yeah.
Well, that means you can't re-roll either.
No. So, what happens to me?
Well, I'm going to say, like, I'm going to make it you succeed, but things get worse. Like, you're running and you're getting faster and you're faster. And he's somehow keeping up with you. You don't know how that's even possible, because maybe he's just more used to moving through mud than you. Like Ubold and I'm going to check Ubold and Everin. I presume you'd be running as well. You're moving on from now, or would you be wanting to stay in the woods?
I mean, the elf's gone, right? So
seems legit. But the complication is he grabs you by the foot, at which point he is immediately grabbed by an enormous hand. Actually, no, stomped down on an enormous yellow boot, and he's crunched. And you look up, towering, and you see old Tom. Old, you know, you've been saved by old Tom. The situation has become worse because old Tom is here, looming above you. He's he's at least as tall as 4 hobbits. Those big, cheerful yellow boots. But now you're looking that close. Even the fact he's crushed the body, those boots are leaking. Red is leaking through something. Red is inside those boots and is leaking through it to it. At which point we're going to hard cut to Philibert, who is in the barrows. And it's beautiful in here. It is really kind of like it's like a perfect concert hall. Every noise you make echoes. Like I would say, actually, this is a self-answering question, because the most beautiful. What is it about the noises that you make in here that reminds you of the Song of Rowan?
Yeah, it's. There's something in the way that you know, my footsteps and Philibert's voice reverberate. There's something in like the timbre of the way that the echo bounces through the room that is it in his mind, right? Hearing sort of this symphony almost. He starts thinking of the lyrics. He starts, you know, humming the song already, and he is already unconsciously thinking of this song of whatchamacallit, of ruling. And now he can't get it out of his mind, now that it's, you know, he's started to think about it.
Yeah, and then that links to another song. Like as you're standing in this hall, you realise something. Like the noise just echoes around. There's no noise will echo around here forever. It's got perfect acoustics. And as you're standing there in the big hall, you remember this perfect concert hall for a perfect primal performance. You remember what Rowan told you. The last verse of Old Tom. As in the only way, like, Old Tom can only be defeated by ending his song. Like, he was singing the song of Old Tom and add the final verse. And you know how the final verse goes. The problem is that the final verse ends with a death scream. As in, like, somebody has to die and scream to hit the final note in this song. Of course, I'll also note the other problem that faces Philibert. Philibert doesn't know the rest of the song.
That is the problem.
Yeah. But there is one solution, though. There is there's a stage, and it's half stage, half altar. Like, and you can't tell whether it is stone or wood or some kind of fossilized wood. It stands there, and resting on top of the altar, as if they're instruments waiting for a performer, are 4 long steel daggers. Philibert, what are you doing? Oh, I was about to say, like the other thing Roman says, like if you defeating Old Tom allows you to become master. You can be the master of these halls. All this can be yours if you defeat Old Tom.
Yeah. Well, right now Philibert is in a moment of relative calm, I think, because he is alone in the barrow, and all the bad things are happening to his friends who he abandoned outside of the barrow. So I think that right now Philibert is. He looks like. Part of it is he's walking around with reverence. It looks like he's in a museum gallery and he's looking at everything and he is in awe of it. And also part of it is that he is taking things as he walks around, and he is shoving them into his pockets and his bags, and some of these things he's looking at and he, they're jewelry and he starts putting them on. He's like, well, this would look good on me. And he starts to like it, and I think that eventually he does make his way to the stage, and all of a sudden to Philibert, maybe he's starting to have some thoughts that he would not have had back in town, probably.
Do you find that somehow you find the knife in your hand without you realizing picking it up?
He does. Oh, he looks down again, and he's holding it in his hand, and it feels the handle fits perfectly. It is just the right size. It fits like a glove, custom made for him.
No, you have to imagine this is how you imagine sitting on the throne of Meadowdown Hall would feel. This is just perfect and made for you. At which point we're going to hard cut to Everand, Eubald, and Berquin, who are confronted by the towering form of Old Tom, laughing and joking and clearly delighted. The barrow is just ahead of you. Old Tom, his coat falls apart. And it reveals, Tom in all his splendor. It's quite the thing. Old Tom is a mass of hobbit bodies merged together.
Ugh.
He's singing in many voices because there's many little hobbits, hobbit mouths hanging out the side of him. Each of them singing desperately. At the top, there is a single hobbit merged, seemingly in control. You recognize him. You only recognize him from the portraits. The portraits of the great hobbit hero who passed through here, the guy who was apparently killed by the dragon. There's a slightly scaly skin about him, but he appears to be the main part of this Old Tom. Old Tom laughs in a mowing voice. Old Tom will go on forever. There's a place for you, little hobbit, right under my armpit, in my side. Come, and he starts to reach out. We'll cut for the final break. Back at 5 minutes past. Let's skip the image. We come back after the end of ad break and zoom in on the writhing body that is Old Tom, with the old hobbit hero at the top, looking down furiously. I think it's probably a good time for everyone who, apart from Philibert, to do a ruin check.
Yeah, I think so.
This is kind of what rune check seems to be made for in terms of.
Yeah.
So you, Berquin, you rolled a 5, yeah?
I failed my rune check. Yes, I have raised my rune by 1.
I have not managed to do this feat. I feel cheated. Bad dice.
I'm sure there'll be more time for horror before the end. I'm sure. Berquin, I was about to say that your eardrum bursts, and that kind of that gold that ring is starting to emerge bloodily from the side of your head. Everand and Eubald could see it if you noticed.
Oh, can I suggest that it itches terribly, and I scratching at it, and I put my finger in my ear to scratch, and my finger goes into the ring, and I'm yanking it out with my finger through that ring.
That's fantastic. You stop and you're 100% to pull it free, and it's burning on your finger. And then this moment, Old Tom says down to you, "Good, we will need that soon. I'm glad it came, ring bearer." Now, this is, we will renew my vows, and all will be well, and the song will sing, and old Tom will be new Tom once more. Now, come, let me eat you. Like, now,
Can I set him on fire, please?
this sounds. I was about to say, does anyone want to do anything to stop old Tom immediately just effing you up? But you, Bald, you completely do that.
Yes, I mean, I remember this song that rhymes conflagration with incineration and evisceration, and I want to sing that because
Perfect.
and my elf friend will help me and sing it in Elvish.
So you get harmony for the elvishness.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, see?
So what you want to set him on fire to stop him, like presumably allow him a chance to get away, basically, yeah.
There's not that much thought in it. I know how to set things on fire now. I want to set that is horrible. That is horrifying. That is bad, and it shouldn't be there, and it should be gone. And it should, what helps with getting things away is fire. So yeah, set in fire, and then maybe run. But first, fire.
Yeah, definitely will give you all a chance to get away. Okay, that's what we want to do. What could possibly go wrong here?
We're in the forest, right? I could set a lot of things more on fire than just Tom, or also he might not actually be stopped by it.
Yeah, I was about to say. My thing is, what's more dangerous? Well, what's worse than Tom Bomb? Evil old Tom is old Tom on fire and him not caring. That strikes me as a thing, and that could happen anyway. Like that almost strikes me as devil's bargaining. Anyone else? Like it really hurts.
No, I don't think that's a good devil's bargain because my whole goal here is to give us the chance to get to make him stop at least a little.
What my devil's bargain would be is like, yes, it will stop him. Like it could stop him or not, but either way, he's going to be on fire for the rest of this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the devil's bargain.
Yeah, that's a fine devil's bargain. I mean, he's gonna burn and burn and burn and burn.
Cool.
I like that as a devil's bargain because it's always like you set fire to the zombies. Now you've got flaming zombies to deal with. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you are the cook, is the thing. That's the
yeah, that don't remind me, please. Maybe one of the worst things that could happen would also be that those hobbits fall off and come after us flaming.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Like also, I think everything else setting on fire, possibly like you, like I'm just saying, I don't want to set you on fire. That just feels weird. Like that's off. I think we've got enough things that could go wrong.
Yeah, we can set Drayberry on fire.
Actually, yeah, Drayberry's under his feet actually at the moment. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Cool. So I have a devil's bargain. I have. Can I add another dark die? Just
You're hungry for the
No, I really don't want this to go wrong, actually.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I'm rolling. Oh, yay. I've rolled a 4 on the dark die, which is the highest, but it's a 4, and it's just the same as my ruin, so yay. Yay me.
Excellent. So that's perfect. So it's complications. Like, the complications, we said he would definitely be on fire anyway. I've removed the complication there. I'd say you've got nothing. You've kind of lost most of your equipment now, haven't you?
I think I have lost most of my equipment. Yes. That's.
I'm going to give a slight thing, as in Everund is slightly on fire, and Everund might think you did it deliberately. I know we didn't mention this, but like that is I'm allowed to do by the rules. But that kind of you've accidentally Everund got a bit at the back blast.
Oh yeah. Sure, right.
Well, he wants the urn. That's why he's setting me on fire.
Yeah, and I'm of course, and I'm rushing towards you because I want to save the urn.
Right.
And you.
Right.
Fantastic.
I noticed the older, the ancestor hobbit in there, and I'm not really even focused on Tom at all. I'm fixated on that ancestor hobbit, and I believe that he has betrayed me specifically, and so I am angry, and I'm sort of holding the urn like, what's even in here? and I start pouring it out, and I'm going to invoke the Song of the Wind to try and suffocate that particular hobbit in the Frankenstein's monster.
That's fantastic. Berquin, are you? You both ran it inside. Berquin, what are you doing during this? I just want to picture the scene.
Yeah.
Run away.
I think Berquin's committed to this.
Yeah. I think as he's pinned down beneath old Tom's foot, Dravery's face is just like peering out underneath it, and I'll look at him and I'll say, "It was the Lord of what's the name of it? Goodberry Manor. It was his idea. He wanted your part."
You did it all for the Fundle Futures, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. But I'm trying to encourage Dravery to go after Philibert instead.
Okay. We can we'll do the drowning thing first, because you'll probably end up inside, depending how Everend rolls here. Everend, you're doing the song. It was Song of which one was it?
Song of Wind.
Yeah.
Song of Wind.
Song of Wind. Yes. Breathing in all its forms. Tell me a little bit about the song. What's the noticeable refrain in the Song of Wind? Sorry.
Yeah, you've really hit my weak spot here.
You don't have to rhyme. Just sort of give me an image it calls back.
I think it talks. It sort of escalates very quickly, and it sort of talks about how a gentle breeze can turn very quickly into a raging, howling storm. And it's more rhythmic song than melodious song. And it has a physical element. So I'm like balling my fist as if crushing his windpipe.
That's fantastic. Things that can go wrong. It doesn't work. And he lashes out, and I would say he gets hold of you, and we don't know what that means. I think he starts to take you into his body somehow. That kind of this is the kind of, you're getting quite close to him now, especially because he's on fire.
I'm also pouring out whatever is in the urn.
Yeah,
and
that's a really good question.
Breathing that in, probably not ideal.
Yeah.
Especially with my mouth, with me breathing hot stuff. So,
speaking as a player in the game, I would what is in there? As you say, what is in there, and B, who wanted it and for what reason? 3. You know what I mean? All these are interesting questions. We've lost the Sabine briefly.
yeah.
That's fantastic. Anyone got any devil's bargains? Josh, any ideas?
God, I don't know.
I mean, I could be engulfed by the scales. I could be sort of fully.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Scaled.
Devil, the idea, that the elvish writing and the protection. You've broken the protection on the thing. Therefore, whatever curse is in there is going to hit you anyway.
Coming for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's you definitely stop becoming more dragony, I guess.
Yeah.
That's great. So you get 1 light dice and a black dice.
Right. Let's do that. Oh, I did not do well. I rolled a 2 and a 3, and my higher die was the 3 on the black die, on the dark die.
Sorry, the highest was a 3. That's a fail. Ow. In which case, the fact it's the highest dice means you can't re-roll it. In other words, there's the image I like to give you is the awful moment is that you cannot drown the forest. you cannot make the forest not breathe. The forest is breathing the wind in its trees are a breath, and it reaches down in you, and you see this enormous burning hand start to close around Everend, which probably hard cut away. Actually not yet hard cut away. We see this lizard type creature starting to writhe in the grasp of this creature. Then we hard cut to Berquin, who is running inside the barrow. Philibert, have you done anything to prepare for people arriving in the barrow?
Ooh, I not to prepare. I wouldn't say. But Philibert is in a very different costume than he was when you last saw him, because he is he has like stuff stacked on top of each other. Basically, he has like 6 overlapping, golden circlets around his head because they're big on him, so you can kind of get a lot on there. And he has rings that are a little bit too big for him on one hand. Then he has it held in a fist so that way the rings don't fall off. And he there is a sword stuck in his belt, and if you tried to hit something with it, it would probably break into pieces. It's ancient. It's like crumpled into, but the hilt is beautiful and it's sticking up out and you can see it. And he's clearly, and also I think the actual barrow itself looks like a very amateur tomb robber has just had its way in here, because he has. And you see him standing on the stage with a knife in hand. And then when he sees you, he sort of turns with a blank expression, and then he goes, "Oh, hello," and he waves.
Yeah, I do like
Nice.
this is all my precious. As you see, you have that level of stuff around you. It's precious. Berquin, you watch this place, and it's like someone has just robbed. It's this amateur robbing all the merch, and you arrive. And what's the first thing you notice about the inside of this cathedral, perfect acoustic barrow full of all these incredible riches?
The first thing I notice is that there's a door at the back, like a tunnel at the back that goes further, a way out that doesn't involve going past old Tom, basically.
Oh, that's good. The other thing that happens the second you walk in. That's right. Yeah. Oops.
I'm back.
Hi, Sabine.
My computer started to make a noise at me and then died.
My computer's really twitchy at the moment. It's like I reboot it anytime I start to do a game just to make sure I've got a chance of getting all the way through without it dying, because it's not in a great shape. Just to recap what's happened, Everin tried to drown the thing, which went very badly when it was reached towards him as he started to become a lizard, and he's now started to merge or being grabbed by Tom. Meanwhile, Philibert is inside with all the gold standing on the stage. Berquin's come in, and you've come in with Berquin as well. And we've noticed there is a way out. There might be a kind of a very small tunnel out the back. Sorry, Will?
I would really like to try and do a reduction roll.
I was about to explain the reduction roll to Dan. Reduction roll, when you hit Ruin 5, there's something happens. Ruin 5, you can start sabotaging the mission. And anytime you choose to sabotage the mission, you roll the dice. And if you roll your Ruin score less, you reduce your thing by 1. And if you don't roll your Ruin score less, you can reduce your thing by 1. But it just means that someone else sees you as well. So in other words, now you start the backstabbing. Before you do that, Will, there's one more piece of information I want to give you. Like at the second you and Ubald arrive there, you get the image of like Rowan, and Rowan tells you about the final verse of the song of Old Tom. In that, if you want to, you can stop Old Tom. You can end this. You can, if you end this song, but the only way to end the song is to do the final verse, and the final verse ends with a death scream.
So we know the same. We know what Philibert found out earlier.
Yeah. And your eyes do fall to those 4 knives, one in Philibert's hands. Right.
Well, so like Drapery or whatever, this crumpled body is still hauling its way down, like after me, right? Like, and I think that as I'm going, I'm backing up, and I'm, and I'm going like, Drapery, it wasn't me. It was my new partner. It was my new business partner. It was the Lord of Meadowdown Hall. Philibert Mugwort, you should see what he spent all of your. I'm going broke. He's breaking the business with everything that he's bought, all of his riches and splendor. He felt like and he procrastinates and procrastinates. He's the laziest hobbit that you've known. He's taken all of your industry. So my reduction roll is trying to convince
Seems legit.
Dravery. Yeah, does that seem fair? Yeah,
that seems nice. Like
It seems like I deserve it. So
yeah. I don't think this is a risk roll because he can't really get you yet. So like this is just more like
no. This is specifically I want to set him onto thingy. Yeah.
I think that seems legit.
Okay. Cool. I rolled a 4, so I would decrease my room by 1.
That's fantastic, and no one notices except for Draybro, who goes that little. He swears in what remains of his lungs. Ubald, you arrive like in this incredibly beautiful hall. Like if you actually gasp and the multi-tracked elven voice echoes, and it echoes around here, and there's a moment you might think about what level of beauty that could be here.
I feel that after seeing that mess of burning hobbit thingies, I'm a bit less interested in the beauty and a bit more interested in not being eaten by this giant thing out there. So I feel that Ubald is not. He likes elves and he has no large sense of self-preservation, but no. So.
Excellent.
You said something about a way out. A tunnel?
There's a way out. There's a tunnel at the back of the room that we notice as we go in as well. Standing behind Philibert in his splendor.
Yeah, maybe I'll skedaddle towards the tunnel. That seems far. Anything that's away from zombies at that thing, and I can deal with elf zombies, but hobbit zombies, that's a line. That's a hard line.
Especially these hobbits being like, it would be better if they were zombies. They're not. They're still alive. There's nothing that's undead about Old Tom. Old Tom is very much alive.
Ubald thinks they are dead, and he doesn't want to know anything else. That's part of him, his brain sheltering him from the true horror that he thinks they are dead.
They have to be. I can imagine that they have to be. There's no way they can possibly face this otherwise. Fantastic. So you and Berquin are legging it to the back. And it's kind of like Rowan's words are kind of just echoing. You'll never. I don't think you can ever outrun Old Tom in these woods. Like. Maybe you can feed some of your friends to him. Maybe that's possible. To truly defeat him, the singing the song is the safest way. And of course, I care for you. And it'd be a shame if you left the forest. Someone has to sing. Philibert, you have as you're heading towards the back. Do you say anything to Berquin or Ubald as they go past, or what you're doing? Because you may not have realised that there is a sort of zombie hobbit that's crawling its way desperately towards you with murder in its eyes. You're muted.
Thank you. I greet them when they come in. I don't think I do notice the zombie hobbit crawling towards me with murder in his eyes. I think the Philibert is lost in the grandeur of his own little world. And I think you
tell us about your inheritance, as you come in, like, friends, my inheritance is
starts
here.
Talking about this his great luck, and then I think he notices immediately that neither of you care at all, because both of you are much more concerned about everything else that's going on, and are probably booking it for the exit still, right? And this is what and the fact that none of them are listening to him is what confuses him. And then I think he starts to realize the zombie crawling after and panic a little bit.
That's fantastic. This creature jumps you. How dare you? You're a disgrace to your house. There's no fair trading. You travel with Berquin, and this thing is running up your body. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I think that Philibert is he's panicked a little bit as he's stumbling back, and he has the knife in his hand, and I think he just sort of not entirely meaning to, he is going to try to stab him in his little zombie hobbit face.
I would say normally in like a trophy you can't fight monsters. In this particular case with these particular knives, I say you can. You know what I mean? That this feels like the suitable kind of mystical climax of it. Yeah.
That's fair. I can change that.
Oh no, I agree. I think these are definitely the sort of knives you stab with.
I know, but if okay,
no,
because you are offering, I will accept, and I will say thank you for that offer. But also thank you for the rules reminder, because I did not remember that.
Okay, what could go wrong? Well, it takes the knife off. It takes that knife off you and does the same to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that could go wrong or offers?
I think the knife. I think you've already gone further than the. Because I was going to say the knife breaks, right? But it's worse for it to get taken off and stabbed.
Yeah. Breaking also works. Yeah. Yeah, that seems they seems like the rare. That seems. Anyone got offer? Sorry, the Devil's Bargain.
I think Philibert starts to lose his finery, right, and that sort of maybe starts to. It's not very deadly, but it starts to undermine his. Like Philibert's taken a lot of clothing and jewels and things, and has puffed himself up, and now that's starting to get.
Yeah, it's making them dirty. I mean, this thing has to be muddy as heck, and it just makes everything dirty and smelly. And
I was about to say, like, I'm gonna push it even further as an offer. Like he just starts to take it, and some of the treasure just start disappearing into the ground, like hobbits are taking it back, like, and then you have to do something about that as well.
Oof. Yeah, I will agree to that. I think that's a really good. Oof, that is a very good picture. I'm gonna take that.
Sweet.
I would say that I am. And I would say that I am risking my mind or body.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's an argument about that. So. That is 3. The black dice is not my highest, so I'm going to re-roll.
Cool.
And now I re-roll 2 dark dice?
Yes.
Okay. That is another 3, still not my highest. Well, that is a critical.
If it's Blaze in the Dark, we're doing really well.
Yeah.
But
there are no criticals, but it is a full success. And I do add a ruin.
Yes, you're now on 5 ruin. Now this is the okay. You get to narrate what you killing this beat him off with the dagger does, and also the thingy being grabbed.
Yeah. So I think that what happens is that Philibert stabs him. And he just recoils. It is similar to the sort of holy water garlic reaction, but he clutches the wound, right where the dagger entered him, and the flesh around it starts blackening even further than it is already like degraded, and it literally starts turning into dust just then and there, which is not good for him and his bodily function.
Yeah, that's great. All around this, you've got this and the treasure's being taken back into the soil by greedy, snatching hobbit hands, and your friends running. And you close your eyes for a second, and like you sit, and then you suddenly realize you've got bark resting against your face, and roots wrapped around you. You open it again and reality's back. But every time you even blink now, you're aware that you're inside a tree and it's feeding you dreams. And all of this is a dream. And the only way to make sure you can wake up is to basically shatter the dream. These people, you all this has been a lie. You've been ever since the Willows. You've been inside the tree, and you've got to kill people. You realise you need to kill these. The only way to wake up is to kill these people around you, because this will force the dream to shatter. Right, I was about to say, we're going to, as Ubald's having the existential horror of being stuck inside Old Man Willow, we're going to go back to Everund. Everund, you're on fire. You're mainly dragon, but you're in a position of honor. You're basically a glorified epaulette. Is that the right word? Or a pauldron as well. You're a pauldron on old Tom, emerging from the head of your ancestor turns to your right. A head you've known from portraits and semblance, says, welcome to the choir. We'll sing, and little voices echo down his body as ripples. And he lurches into the chamber. Philibert is there. Berquin and Ubald are trying to get down the hole at the far side. And he tells you, all we are is a song in the forest, and these discordant notes. All discordant notes must be gone to help the actual song sing true. Which of them should die first?
Well, I'm going to say that Berquin has been the bigger challenge to the chorus. Is that all right, Will? I mean, I feel like Ubald is sort of singing along now with his creepy voice, right?
Yeah, but I also set the Old Tom on fire.
You did, but maybe that's part of the song.
Oh yeah, that's totally possible. Yeah, fire is nice.
Yeah,
Doesn't hurt him that much.
Old Tom has emerged, splendid on fire, with this dragon emerging from this half dragon emerging from one shoulder. The dragon that was once Everund is breathing fire out in gouts as this moves in, looking at Berquin, and it's starting to move across the feet. The big percussion of God as it moves closer, the gibbering of all the tongues. Ubald and Berquin, the hole is really small and probably room for one hobbit to get through. You're scrambling at. Berquin and Ubald, what are you doing?
I think I'm starting to sing the song of Old Tom. We know it, right?
Yeah, you know it. Yeah.
And one of the other two, Philibert or Everard, they will probably die. So, I mean, Rowan said that this was the way to go, and then I mean, I still have my cooking, my flensing knife, right, that I used for the fish if ever things come to it, which I hope they won't, because I hope one of these guys will kill one of these other guys. But yeah, I'm starting the song because the elf and Rowan has said, and Rowan was maybe an elf.
What's the verse about?
The first one?
Well, yeah. What's this first verse? This opening cheery song of Tom as this creature is lurching towards you.
It's that's the basic. It's the Tom and his cheery hat and his cheery clothes, and he sings ring-a-ding-lillo and rong-a-dong-dillo and things like that. And he is always cheerful as he walks about, and the birds sing with him, and the rivers sing with him, and everything sings with him. That's the first verse.
Yes, as he's singing, like his heavy breathing, every time he breathes, the entire Dawn chorus sings at once, and it's like the Dawn chorus, like sudden, like a bursting of a record, as like a throbbing as he moves forward. Those heavy footsteps. You see the boots; those boots of yellow are now soaked through, and red blood from the raw bodies of the pulsing hobbits is leaking through, leaving steps behind. Philibert, like I say, Berquin is definitely coming at you. I was about to say, I'd say Berquin probably has the first response here. Do you want to do anything?
I mean, I'm not coming at Philibert, and it's behind Philibert, isn't it? The tunnel, yeah. So I have to go past him to get to it.
I was about to say, I saw. I think
at this point, because of Philibert's sort of disorientation at the beginning, he's probably in the middle of the pack, right? That's like scattered across the room.
Because I can establish just to make sure we've got a clear view. Is the entranceway? We've got the stage near the back, the tunnel behind the stage, and I pictured you and Berquin and Ubald kind of at the tunnel already, as in you're kind of in that But
That was
only
also how I was picturing. I was
Yeah,
picturing
that's-
Filbert was
so-
on the stage,
Yeah.
and you guys were
I
more
think sort of
going
like-
to the Punnett Hill.
Yeah, because we just blew past you when you were pontificating about your riches and stuff. Because I was going to say, with everything that's going on, I think, and this whole is only big enough for one Hobbit, right? Berquin sings the Song of Dark, gets to the edge of the tunnel and sings the Song of Darkness, because if they can't find the hole, they can't possibly come after him.
So your aim with the song is the aim of the song is to make sure no one can find you, yeah?
The name of the song is to cover my escape down the tunnel, basically.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, so because it's if no one can get to the tunnel, no one can drag me out of there, fight me, whatever, right? I'm free reign, and this whole mess can sort itself out while I escape my little feet down the tunnel, basically.
I was about to say I have so many things that can go wrong here. Like I can't even I think that's broadly the tunnel isn't what the tunnel you think it is. Like you're doing a mystical thing, you're entering mystical darknesses. Like there appears to be all manner of possible awful places you could emerge.
Oh yeah, so I'd like to suggest that the thing that goes wrong then is that the Song of Darkness opens the darkness into something more deeper. And so when I jump into that tunnel, the darkness within is no longer mundane darkness, but into the land of I don't know what Sauron's called.
No, I've got. That's a really good idea. Actually, I've got another one. We'll see how that one goes. Actually, depends on what you roll. Depends how badly you roll, I think.
Yeah. So
anyone got a Devil's Bargain?
I'm blinded.
That's a good one. I've got Devil's Bargain. Let's you'll always be pursued by shadows. Let's assume you get away. You're gonna have shadows chasing you for the rest of your life.
I'll have their shadows chasing me for the rest of my life.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That is a 6 on my ruin dice.
Well, that's great. So you go up to 5, and you get to narrate your actually escape. Actually, I think you're going to get away, which is fine. But you're going to get away with an awful trophy problem behind you as well, though.
Yeah, I like that. I think it'll be the shadows of whoever dies here, right?
Right. Okay, describe your escape. There's darkness everywhere. Things are suddenly dark, and the only illumination is this Balrog type enormous old Tom. Philibert, you're alone with the knife out on the altar. There's the enormous sound of this, whatever this creature is, and someone singing by a hole where the hole would have been.
Yeah, Philibert is also going to start singing a different song when he knows he's going to start singing the Song of Ruling at this point in time.
Cool.
Because I think to Philibert, this is he does not care for Meteran Hall quite so much anymore because of his time in the forest has been very traumatic, and this is a beautiful place, and he has all these beautiful things that these hobbits are taking from him, and he wants to dominate the hobbits to sort of become their leader, to become the king of this barrow, and to get these treasures back, and maybe he'll be the lord of this barrow, and that's good enough for Philibert. Isn't that good enough for him? It's always been what he just wanted.
That is definitely I would say. So the aim is you to become ruler of these hobbits, essentially. Yes. That's fantastic. You call up. You're on this is full on Sauron, or Smeagol screaming out, "This is more my precious," is the image here in the darkness, literally in the darkness. Fantastic. What could go wrong? It works. I think the obvious is whatever this means is probably it depends what ruling it means. There's a twist. I think there's probably going to be a twist in what ruling it means anyway, because we're in that sort of position of doom. But you can definitely. I think most of the problems I see here are actually things working. Except if something went really wrong, it's just you get killed before it works or something like that. But that's probably boring. Anyone got anything else to add?
I was going to offer a devil's bargain, which is I'm less Hobbit and more something else now, so it does not work on me. So he is trying to dominate a bunch of hobbits, and I'm not a hobbit.
I would
I was
be
going to say,
very.
like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. Cool. So,
And I think
sorry.
And I think I might not work on the elf voice inside of Uwald. I might work on Uwald perfectly, but not on the elf voice because that's not a hobbit.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic.
All right.
Yeah, the devil's bargain is hobbits only.
Yes, great. I'm very happy with a hobbits only clause on this. So 2 light dice and 1 dark die.
No, 1 light dice and 1 dark
1
dice.
light die
Because you only have the devil's bargain dice.
because I only have the devil's bargain.
Because
You're
you have no
correct,
skills.
because I am not because I'm not skilled at this song. Sorry.
Yeah.
That is a 5 and a 1. Now here's the real question. Is it, do I accept the 5 or do I self-sabotage and try to...
Like, I think we can probably get to a conclusion here either way, I reckon. Because this is a big
Yeah.
success, so I can get a complication. Like, the complication I would pitch is... a lot of it depends, like, Ubald. Like, the elf take... You're singing this song. Do you want to... You could kill Philibert at the moment, so Philibert becomes undead. You know what I mean? Because you've got the elf is capable of acting. Is that something that interests you, or...?
I need someone to do a death scream, though.
That's what I mean, as in, like, you kill
Oh, yeah.
Philibert, that's the death scream. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's good.
well, if the elf can do what the elf, it was the elf. It was the elf. And if I do that, I will make a ruin roll because, I mean, killing another hobbit still is weird.
Yeah.
I'm just a cook. I've killed chickens, but not hobbits.
Philibert. Okay, like the complication is you become a king, you're ruling it all, you have this moment of majesty, then Ubald, as an elf voice, stabs you through the chest.
That
And now
is a
you are
complication that I am more than pleased with.
fantastic. Please
I'm
narrate
more than
then,
happy
Philibert.
to be the undead hobbit king of this barrow.
Yeah, fantastic. Do you
Or
want to narrate
the dead
the
hobbit king of this barrow.
Sorry, do you want to narrate it as well, or do you we just want to establish?
Yeah, well, I think that so he's standing on the stage and he starts singing this this song that he knows, Song of Ruling, which is a different song that is not the same as the Song of Old Tom. But because Everard and Ubald are still singing, because their singing has not been affected by his Song of Control. When there's a moment at the end when Philibert has finished his song, and he is and he is king of this barrow now for this brief beautiful moment in his eyes, and then they finish their song, and then the knife goes through him, and he screams, and his scream is haunting. It is pained, and because he is screaming like a man who is losing everything he has ever wanted that he has just gotten for half a second, and then he buckles over, and the song has been sung.
Fantastic. We'll hard cut to Ubald, who's on who Ubald gets back to his having stabbed the blade all the way through Philibert. How does Ubald feel in this moment?
It's almost like stabbing a chicken. It's not that different. It's not. It had to be done, right? It had to be done. I have made my ruin roll, and I'm no higher than 4. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm fine. I'm basically.
you think you're fine. There's this moment of like, old Tom is like screaming at this, and that hobbit head on the top, the ancient hero, is just trying to like tear itself from the body, and it can't quite do it, and it's being sucked down like the hobbits in their graves into the body and pushed aside. It kind of moves Everon to one side as well, and then old Tom kneels before you, and his hand atrophies, and the ring falls off, and the ring rolls before you, and it stares at you, so precious. You know, if you take it, you'll become new Tom, groom of Rowan of the Woods. And new Tom, you'll be able to sing whatever song you wish in the choir and fulfill your every wish. Until you become old Tom, of course.
Groom of Rowan in the Woods. Yeah, that part is interesting to me. Yes, I take up the ring, of course.
Right. Do you want to describe? Do you want to describe becoming part of the head figure of old Tom or new Tom now?
Ubald takes up the ring and looks at it, and then he looks up at Everard and says, "Look, this is so precious." And then he puts on the ring, and he kind of vanishes almost as if you couldn't see him, and then suddenly he appears next to you if you're still stuck somewhere on Tom, and he's at the head, and he looks at the ring, and then he starts screaming.
That's fantastic. And all the voices babble along with you. And he realizes that if we're going to, this wood, there's no melding this wood. This melody is just a cacophony. It's just about removing melody. And that the song, the cacophony of the woods, goes on and on as the boots of red stomp away from it. I'd like to give everyone a final kind of scene with their characters. Like, if anyone's got an order, my immediate urge to say Berquin last, Philibert first, Everon, then Ubald. So in other words, starting with Philibert, then Everon, then Ubald, then Berquin. That's my feeling. Fantastic. Philibert, you're like, we've left the barrow alone, and Philibert's corpse isn't there. Do you want to give an epilogue for him?
Yeah, I think that for a while, the barrow is silent, right? And for a long time, the barrow is silent. And no one thinks about the barrow. It's the old barrow. It's been there for it's been there for, as long as I can remember, right? Thousands of years, probably. But then people start telling stories about, sounds in the woods, like music and dance and singing and some lights. And sometimes every now, not often, but sometimes people will go missing. They'll go out, one day, and they'll say, "Well, I'm going to a party. I'm going to a feast," and they'll never come back. And I think that some, in the mound, deep in the mound, Philibert is the lord of his own manor, just not perhaps in the way that he thought he would be when he set out.
That's fantastic. Everand, an epilogue.
Yeah, I think the camera is kind of on the barrow, maybe pulled out a little bit, and it sort of starts to rise up, and we see the barrow and the forest and the river beyond that and the willows, and then in the distance the farm and the hobbit village. And there's sort of this quiet moment as we take in this scene, and then sort of without notice a dragon emerges from the forest. I've gone full dragon. The only thing that maybe is recognizable is that instead of dragony scales, I've got fish scales. And I'll start making my way towards the hobbit village. And that's all you see.
Fantastic. Ubald?
I think what we see is Ubald, and you just see Ubald's face, right, on his upper body, and he's somewhere, and he's in the hall of Rowan's hall, And Rowan's looking at him and said, "No, I knew you could do it, Tom. You'll do very well, I think. Your songs are very interesting. Sing me the song about the chicken again."
I'm just throwing. This image just come to me, so I'll just throw it because it sort of builds on that. Is that Rowan gets the harp, she's playing along, and all the voices of old Tom across the body ripple and echo and sing like demented children to this image. Love it. And Berquin, tell us about the Feated Stag whenever you get that.
The Feated Stag is a real one-star road stop in mildew on the walls, hunchback traveler, everyone wearing black cloaks. It's like everyone's what Strider's supposed to be before it's revealed it is actually Aragorn. And Berquin, comes in and nervously does some business with some of them, sells them what looks like swords and weapons and things, and he's like glances furtively over his shoulder and then lets out a little scream when the candle blows out, and for a second you can see standing in like a row of the shadows of Draebury, Everard, Philibert and Hubald, but all in their hobbit forms. And just for a second, you can hear them whisper the song of old Tom.
Hey, that was fantastic, everyone. I love that so much. I'm going to stop recording now. But thanks everyone so much for playing. That was, I said, it's the first time I've ever ran this, and it was amazing to run it for you all. And there's so much great stuff there. And if you're watching, hello and goodbye. Bye, everyone.